Shalom. All praises, honor, and glory goes to Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai Bahasham, Rakahakwadash, double honor to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. Shalom and salutations to the elect scattered throughout the four corners of the earth. Real quick,
We show you surveillance photos like these all the time, and maybe you recognize the person in the video, but your eyes can deceive you even about your own child.
Yeah, that's really true. And tonight we actually show you a stunning local case that will make you scratch your head a little bit and wonder if what you just saw was indeed real.
And it also illuminates what prosecutors say is a real problem. Eyewitness accounts. They say they're so unreliable, they may just be the worst kind of evidence.
In 2010, he held up multiple tri-state banks, and the surveillance video hit probably every newscast in Cincinnati.
It's something you would see in a Hollywood movie.
I don't think any of us has seen anybody do anything like this.
Talks about killing cops.
This is the bank robber.
We believe to be an African-American male.
Hamilton County prosecutor Joe Dieter says people were convinced they knew this guy.
We had it on video.
They pointed at the same guy, the same house. They were sure it was this man.
Put out a Crime Stoppers tip, and we got about 5 or 6, 7 phone calls. I know that guy. He lives on this street. He lives in this particular house. And when the detectives went to that house, they knocked on the door. His mom answered it. She said, "I know why you're here. I just saw on television my son robbing a bank."
This is that woman's son. Take a look. He looks incredibly like the guy in the surveillance video. Police took the son, whose identity we were not given, into custody. Then they got a call from another woman who said they had the wrong guy, that it was her boyfriend who robbed the bank, and this is her boyfriend, Conrad Zerdiak.
Actual perpetrator was white as could be. He had bought a theatrical mask from Beverly Hills, which cost a few $1,000s. And it's very lifelike, and he had it on, and it looks like the guy they called Crime Stoppers about.
I mean, his mom said
His mother said it.
he did it.
He did it. It looked just like her son.
Sunglasses covered Zerdiak's blue eyes. Gloves covered his hands.
That just tells you don't believe what you see all the time, because you could be dead wrong.
Joe Dieters will no longer take one person's word for it, ever since this man was wrongly imprisoned for rape based on one person's identification.
You can't rely solely on identification. It's a recipe for some type of disaster. And I think a disaster is an innocent person in prison.
He says eyewitness accounts are the worst kind of evidence.
I would consider identification as one piece of evidence. It should never be the only piece of evidence.
Well, Conrad Zerdiak will be in prison for that robbery and other robberies until 2035. And we want to show you something. The prosecutor let us borrow this. This is the mask used in that crime. It has been sitting at my...
hey, this is what's coming to the men of the Lord. You know, Esau, with his slithery ways, his cunning ways, right? So the first precept I'm going to read is in Ephesians. This is Ephesians chapter 5, verse 15. It says, "See then that ye walk circumspectly, not as fools, but as wise, redeeming the time, because the days are evil," right? The days ahead and the days now are very evil, because Esau knows that his time is running out. So he's going to definitely frame the men of the Lord in the time to come. Because if a regular people can buy these realistic, real life looking masks, and put them on and go out in society and nobody can recognize them. Imagine the higher quality ones, the ones that they give to these agents, just like the ones that they use in Hollywood, right? So a lot of you popular brothers on the internet, from these other camps, in GMS as well, popular figures on the YouTube space, that people actually listen to, and Esau is listening to, knowing the damage that, we're causing, on the right hand side, to his left hand side wickedness. He's going to target you brothers. He's going to target us. And these Edomites have a saying to say, "Oh, all black people look the same," and that's a that's an idea, a thought that they have, successfully, you know, grown into the minds of people for a long time, that all black people look the same. They're all the same. They all look the same, right? So it's very easy for them to what's the word I'm looking for? Frame brothers in the times to come. The next one I have here, this is Revelation chapter 12, verse 12, and it says, "Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time." Recently, just like the elder in LA, Mwatazak did a little testimony on behalf of the brother, a little 2 cents, warning. You're gonna have more individuals like that so-called bug out, which it might be an agent, wearing a mask as well, wearing one of them real life masks. You're gonna have more of those incidents, of fake faces, coming at brothers as well, trying to take, away brothers 3 points, so to speak, on the behalf of the spiritual demon Satan, doing his work. But it's only through the grace and power of Yahweh Shemel Shai that brothers will escape these things, because as it says here, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he had but a short time. So he's going to try to take out very important brothers. All brothers are important, but this is all spiritual, man. The Lord has things ordained a certain way. These angels on the left hand side know who certain brothers are, right? So you're gonna have more incidents like that to come, and you're gonna have more incidents as similar to the video that I played, where brothers are gonna get framed. They're gonna have actual masks that are created to look just like brothers, doing crazy things. And we already have, we're sheeps, as the scripture says, in the midst of wolves. We're supposed to be wise as serpents, harmless as doves. But you have men like Sakari that portray themselves in a certain violent manner, walking around with sticks, guns, and so on and so forth, pushing that image, that terroristic image. You have IXUPK that has a certain image as well. So certain things are not going to be hard to push out, or hard to believe, right, when the time comes. So I have another video here.
Imagine a silicone mask that looks like a real face and can even mimic your expressions with precision. These incredibly lifelike masks are made by an Italian company and are available in various skin tones and age groups, making them look completely natural. The cost of one of these masks reaches up to $1,000, yet it's nearly impossible to tell it's not a real face. And the exciting part? This is just the standard model. Imagine what a version made for undercover agents would be like. Imagine
what a version made for undercover agents would what did he say?
Made for undercover agents would be like. Imagine a silicone
a version of this made for the undercover agents would be like, right? It would be no different than what we see every day walking outside looking at human beings. It will be identical. So these are the devices that we're up against, but guess what? Through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bahasham Yahushai, right? Where do I have it here? This is 2 Corinthians chapter 2, verse 11. Lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. So we are very aware of his devices and his schemes and his slithering ways, man. Call Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, all praises to or powers Yahweh or Yahweh Shai, right? And his devices, let's go into that word devices, man, because these devils, they think they're more clever than us. A mental perception, thought, and evil purpose, that which thinks the mind the thoughts of purposes. So all of these wicked devices, divisive plans that this Edomite has, you know, in his brain and has manifested on earth, you know, psyops, all these different psychological operations and, you know, different type of schemes that he has on the earth, man. We're not ignorant to these things. We're fully aware. Because it says lest, you know, because the elect will not be deceived, as the scripture says. It's not possible for the elect to be deceived. So all we can do is keep praying and pushing and doing the work of Yahweh Shemel Shai, you know, hoping to, you know, be of that number, be of the elect. And if we are of the elect, none of these devices will come and take us, because we're aware of all of the different angles and ways that Esau, Edom can come at us. Let me read it in the NLT. So it says, right, so it says, so that Satan will not outsmart us, for we are familiar with his evil schemes. And that's the spirit, man. His evil schemes, man. And this is how this Edomite operates, man. Right, an evil purpose. Same shit, the word.
Strong's G 3540. Naima.
You know, that's all he does, man. All he does is Naima. He just schemes. But yeah, these are the times that are coming, man. So this is Sirach. You know, Sirach chapter 12, verse 10, it says, never trust thine enemy, for like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness. So his wickedness has got, imagine how wicked Esau was to, you know, the spirit Esau had to put, you know, you so-called Negroes, you know, West Indians into slavery, transatlantic slave trade, and you Latin tribes as well. You know, your different captivities, right? Imagine the evil spirit that he had then. You know, but it says never trust thine enemy, for as iron rusted, so is his wickedness. So all of the hundreds of years, his wickedness have gotten worse and worse and worse. You know, he may hide it, he may pretend, you know, he may be in a more advanced society today where things may seem like it's free and everybody can get along and all that bullshit. That's how wicked he has gotten. He gotten so wicked that he mastered how to hide certain aspects of his evil, wicked ways. Verse 11 says, though he humble himself and go crouching, yet take good heed and beware of him. And thou shalt be unto him as thou hast wiped a looking glass, and thou shalt know that his rust had not altogether been wiped. So he's like, wait, like, it's like his face starts to crack and you start to see that demon, you know? And you're like, shit. It was all an act. It was just a mask he's wearing, pretty much, you know. It's all an act for these Edomites, man. That's why a video I did about you know, the Edomite babies, children, saying that picking the ugly child and the smart child, and they all point to the dark skin looking one, because that's how they're programmed. You know, Esau hates Jacob. He hate us for our blessing and us being separate and holy and above them. Through the spirit, they know and they envy that, and they have the kingdom in their hands right now. But they still know that they're inferior to us, right? And it goes on to say, verse 12: set him not by us, lest when he hath overthrown thee, he stand up in thy place. Neither let him sit at thy right hand, lest he seek to take thy seat, and thou at the last remember my words, and be pricked therewith. 13. Who will pity a charmer that is bitten with a serpent, or any such as come nigh a wild beast? Right, because the scriptures warn you, the men of the Lord have been warning you to stay away from these Edomites. Don't trust these Edomites. There's no good Edomites, right? There's Israelites that appear to be Edomites, but they're not Edomites. You know, it's not about the physical appearance, about the spirit that's within them that makes them an Edomite, first and foremost. So don't trust these devils, man. These devils are devising, you know, these plans, you know, to destroy you, to destroy our nation, especially the men of the Lord. They're going to come for us first. They're going to frame the men of the Lord on the news in the times to come in Jacob's trouble. And there's not going to be any locking up of any Edomites, any agents that are framing brothers. It's not going to be like that, because the society is going to be on the more lawless side, right? Shit will already have hit the fan at that point. And it goes on to say, so one that goeth to a sinner and is defiled with him is his sins, who will pity. For a while he will abide with thee, but if thou begin to fall, he will not tarry. Right? He will look to finish you off, man. An enemy speaketh sweetly with his lips, but in his heart he imagine how to throw thee into a pit. This is all Esau imagines about us, man. He hates the fact that the word is so powerful and sharp, sharper than any two-edged sword. It's pulling him down, pulling down his strongholds. He will weep with his eyes, but if he find opportunity, he will not be satisfied with blood. Right? He wants to do the most, man. That's why he frames people, innocent people. That's why he has these devices, these type of masks, high level quality masks, witchcraft. Because it's all witchcraft, man. And then because he uses them, and then he puts it on the media, and the media is one of the biggest forms of witchcraft, and he tricks you people. And then you have Eve, which is his one of his top assistants. She's gonna, oh yeah, that's him. Sell out Jake, talk shit. Go on the news and say yes and this and that, and I didn't. All kind of bullshit, man. There's a lot of different, things we're gonna be facing. So you got to be careful. And it's verse 17 said, if adversity come upon thee, thou shalt find him there first, and though he pretend to help thee, yet shall he undermine thee, because he's the one that's devising these things, but he's also going to be the one there that's dealing with it and saying, okay, let me help you. This is what you should do, and pretending. He's going to be like, no, well, they have the evidence. It's you, all that bullshit, man. When through the Spirit and power, Yahweh Shemel Shai, we will know these things, and we will only trust in him. That's why some of us will die for the sakes of Yahweh Shemel Shai. And verse 18 says, he will shake his head and clap his hand and whisper much and change his countenance. He's going to change on you, and that's who this, our women get that behavior from, that spirit, that evil spirit, where they just switch up on us, man. Because they're agents too. They're agents in the spirit, man. So, yeah, man. So I'll close off with this. This is Luke chapter 21, verse 38. Watch ye therefore and pray always, that ye may be accounted worthy to escape all these things that shall come to pass, and to stand before the Son of Man, which is Yahushai. Right? So you got to keep praying and watching, man. That we can escape these things, and that we're protected, because these things are coming, man. And the Lord delivered the brother, because I believe that, that incident that happened, when the guy tried to take his life, I think that was an agent, man. And he was probably wearing one of those masks too. One of those real life masks. It probably was a Jake, an agent, but he was probably wearing a mask, man. That's not him, because I believe the elder said he had on sunglasses. So these devices are coming, man. And we men of the Lord, hopeful men of the Lord, we're prepared through the Spirit and power of Yahweh Shemel Shai. We're not ignorant to these things. So with that, all praises, honor, and glory goes to Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai Bahasham, Rukaha Kudash, Shalom, Abad Babal.